I brought this up before about paying guys, and it's the NHL is about to enter a very difficult time for a lot of their teams, and Frank Saravelli, had reported at least 17 NHL franchises have enacted pay cuts that include GMs, coaches, and hockey operations department staff, and these are the teams that he has listed: Anaheim, Buffalo, Calgary, Chicago, the Blue Jackets, Dallas, Edmonton, the Kings, Minnesota, Montreal, Nashville, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Vancouver, and Winnipeg. And I also read somewhere that there could be some owner changes coming in the NHL.
It's surprising that list Montreal is there, because I would consider them as I don't know. It's like I think of Adam. I think of that's how the fans are. Where no matter what, they'll come in. It's like the Leaf fans. So that's surprising to see that they've had to have some revenue cuts there as well. A lot of teams. By the way, on that list.
It's a lot of teams, and Brian Burks always brings this up that they set escrow to a limit of 20%.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being like 40, because think about how much gate revenue is to the league. It's over 50%. It's over half of their hockey related revenue, and it's gonna be if they don't have any fans in the stands next season, it's going to be very difficult for some teams. And they're already talking about a list of teams who are going to be budget teams. And it's going to be a nightmare. I really think it's not going to be good for the league.
Not at all. I think that, even when times were good, you still had a lot of teams kind of struggling to kind of, meet that revenue that, if they weren't winning, then they weren't getting any revenue. And we talked about, those top teams that were kind of just helping these, I guess, quote unquote, lower revenue teams just trying to get by.
The five big teams?
Yeah, five big teams. And yeah, it's just upsetting because you kind of want the game, I think they're at a point where, that constant thing, we want the game to grow in these new markets. And you're taking a step back now, where teams you've listed are the ones that have to keep building up that fan base. Also, to Minnesota on that list, that's weird to me because they always keep saying that they're the state of hockey, and they have the university, like the NCAA, at like Minnesota Duluth, all like those type of programs there. That it's surprising to me that they're losing this type of money.
It's a scary. It's a scary thought because we're talking about the cap being flat for a few years. Even if the cap goes up, 17 teams right now, revenues, all their revenue is gone. It's over 50% is gone right now for a lot of these teams, and really not looking like I think the leagues are pushing their start date a little bit every time so that we'll get fans then, and we don't know when there's gonna be fans in the seats.
Yeah.
And think about how bad the pandemic hit the economy. Even if in 3 years the salary cap goes up, who says that these teams are going to be cap teams? I think this year was an anomaly. It's not this year was an anomaly because remember there was 15 or 17 teams who were $1.5 million within the cap. I cannot see that being the case within the next 5 years because so many so many owners have been losing money. Like I think we have to remember that these owners, yes, they run the hockey team, but they have things outside of hockey, and everything was shut down for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then started opening up. And think about the guys who own the hotels, the guys who are in restaurants, the guys who are in casinos. They've been closed. Like, they haven't been making money.
I just think of the revenue aspect of it too. Like, I remember I was talking to a few other fans. Like, this was at Ryerson, and I don't know. It was such a simple statement they told me, but it's something that's kind of the reality of the revenue. Like, the revenue aspect right now. It was just like, I'm not gonna buy a jersey. I'm not gonna buy a hat to sit at home and watch the game.
No, it's bigger. You're right. It's bigger than just having fans in the stands, because not having fans in the stands are going to affect other things. Concessions, jerseys, like those programs.
Yeah.
All the league is getting right now, for the most part, is, yes, there's still some people buying jerseys. Of course, they're getting all the ad revenue and the TV deals. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see the future of hockey in terms of how it works economically. I think there's going to be some big changes.
There's just one thing I want to say. Yeah. It's just a simple blanket statement kind of thing where I always mentioned with people is that I really hate the word bandwagon fan.
Yeah. Why?
Because I don't care if you're a bandwagon fan, quote unquote bandwagon fan. Like, do you want your team to relocate? Let there be those people that, jump on like the whole playoff run and everything, like, yeah, more revenue to the team. Like, I don't want another Atlanta Thrashers situation.
Yeah. Listen, we need all the bandwagon fans we can get right now.
Yes. It's just every time I think of that, or like when people kind of get into those arguments, we're like, oh, the bandwagons versus the true fans, at the end of the day, the jersey sale's still the same.
Yeah, I think from a business standpoint, who cares if you're a bandwagon or a true fan, as long as you're spending money? And then I think about it from a fan perspective.
Yeah.
This is just me. I hate bandwagon fans. I hate bandwagon fans because they think they're know-it-alls. I'm like, man, you have not been. And now I feel like I'm walking myself back.
Yeah, because you're a Leafs fan. You're like, you don't know the pain, guys.
That's the thing. And last episode, I go, listen, you don't need pain. Listen, you don't need pain to win. I'm more than happy for you to join the Leafs bandwagon. The more, the merrier. But when Marner has one bad game, or when Nylander has one bad game, don't hop on the bandwagon and say he should be traded.
Yeah, that's their NHL 20.
It's not
mentality coming in.
It's not NHL 20. It's not, you can't just find a trade. You actually have to work to make a trade, okay?
They don't understand, Alex, that when you looked at the lineup on the right side of Mitch Marner, you remember Michael Grabner and P.A. Parento.
I remember Clark MacArthur, yes. Nikolai Kulemin, Alexei Ponikarovsky. That's
he used to live in our area. By the way, he used to live in Vaughan, yeah.
Oh my God. Is he still in Toronto?
I don't know. I think he might have come back. But I just remember that when I was growing up, like when I was a kid, that was a big deal that people would be like, oh, I'd see Alexei Ponikarovsky at like the grocery store or something. Or I'd see him at like Finch Station or something. I don't know.
That is